This is the first part of my Iceberg trilogy of bad vehicle games. In the next two parts of this trilogy, I'll be covering Desert Bus and Big Rigs over-the-road racing, but this had to come first. Before I begin this Iceberg, I should probably explain what CrazyBus is. CrazyBus is a tech demo made for the Sega Genesis by Tom Manero, a Venezuelan game developer. This software is so rudimentary that whether or not it is actually a game has been debated before, kind of like if a virus is alive or not, because the gameplay consists of simply moving a bus image back and forth. It was first released onto the Devster forums in August 2004 after what Tom Manero claims was 3 days of hard work with an engine created to write programs for the Sega Genesis. With that said, let's get into the complete CrazyBus Iceberg. Explain. And no, I'm not going to be making any more Half-Life memes. Stop asking. Terrible music. The game's first music track is notoriously loud and obnoxious, so bad in fact that it perfectly fit Zenith's kill level in the NES Godzilla creepypasta. Apparently, the music is generated by applying a random pitch every quarter note to each of the Sega Genesis's free square wave channels in real time. This ensures that every time the game is run, the music will always be slightly different. The bus select screen also has music, which is a low rumbling tone that's far less annoying but still bad. It is considered probably the worst video game soundtrack of all time. Maximum score. Score in this game is really just a stopwatch for how long you can hold the D-pad to the right on the controller. With that said, the maximum score in this game is 65,535 before it simply stops counting. Maximum score exploit. Moving the bus forwards adds points, and moving the bus backwards subtracts points. However, due to a data overflow, it is possible to make the score overflow to 65,545 by simply pressing left and throwing the score into negative.
You can honk the horn! What more could you want?
Unbelievably, it is actually possible to honk the horn by pressing A.
Hey, looks cool. I just need to understand the mysterious use of the button A.
A button just sounds a horn and turns a light in the top front of the bus.
Crazy Sonic. Crazy Sonic is a ROM hack of Sonic 1 that turns Sonic into an extremely slow school bus and also adds drugs for some reason. I don't think a bus is supposed to be able to take drugs, but who am I to tell a CrazyBus what to do? Made in Venezuela. The game is indeed made in Venezuela, and it immediately makes this fact very clear on the title screen. Various versions. CrazyBus actually has several different versions from 0.3 to 2.0. Most of the updates are really just cosmetic, as they only add splash text and more buses. CrazyBus, Arthur. In the cartoon series Arthur, there is a song called Crazy Bus, which Arthur really hates, as it is apparently played hundreds of times each week. This song has no relation to the game CrazyBus aside from the coincidental name. Physical release.
Who found this gem and put it on a Sega Genesis cartridge with a case? It's like finding somebody's garbage and then packaging it up for the world to see.
For whatever reason, an actual cartridge of this game was produced, even including box art. It was apparently produced by a third party, as CrazyBus's source code is in the public domain, though the identity of the producer has been lost to time. AVGN coverage. Like most bad games, most people first heard of CrazyBus from the AVGN episode. The game was so bad he didn't even know what to say upon first playing it. The title is one word. At least according to the AVGN, you're supposed to say CrazyBus as one word, not Crazy Bus. Speedruns. There are actually 8 submitted runs of CrazyBus on speedrun.com, and the current world record stands at 1 minute and 49 seconds. CrazyBus vs. Desert Bus. Desert Bus is another bad bus game, which is a little similar to CrazyBus, but it actually has gameplay, albeit extremely boring gameplay. I won't be explaining it here since I'll be discussing this game in further detail in my Desert Bus Iceberg. Whatever the hell this name is a version of Crazy Sonic made to run on the Sega CD. TAS. A TAS of CrazyBus was submitted in 2018. I'm not sure if the task is actually RNG manipulating the music generator, but the music in this version is actually a Rickroll. Plocka Master 68K, I definitely mispronounced that. Plocka Master 68K is a spiritual successor to CrazyBus, also made by Tom Manero. It is essentially a Venezuelan license plate generator, also made to run on the Sega Genesis, in the same game engine CrazyBus was coded in. It also features whoever this is. I genuinely do not know who that is, so I would appreciate some clarification in the comments. 0.1 and 0.2. The creator of this Iceberg has actually archived two pre-release builds of CrazyBus, 0.1 and 0.2, though I do not know how they originally acquired these builds, as version 0.3 is the first release build. If the creator of this Iceberg is watching this, I'd genuinely like to know where you got these builds. CrazyBus as an RPG. In 2006, Tom Manero said he might be adding an RPG engine to CrazyBus if possible, though he never mentions this again.
After 3 days of hard work with bassy Hagazors, and with no modem for more than 1 week, finally I'd released my first game, CrazyBus. Nothing special, just move a colorful bus from here to there.
Cool game, Tom. Do you plan on adding anything new?
Yes, like a nice RPG engine, once Devster releases his RPG Maker, or once I get extreme programming knowledge. Expect an update for September, maybe December.
Nice. CrazyBus will be an RPG. Very cool, Tom. I was wondering what kind of gameplay it would have. CrazyBus as an RPG could be a lot of fun. I can't wait to play it. Peace.
NES port. There is actually an NES port of CrazyBus made on April Fools for the NES dev forums. CrazyBus 64. CrazyBus 64 is a ROM hack of Super Mario 64 that personalizes the game based on your thoughts. It was made for a disaster game jam, and in my opinion, this game really is a true disaster. Crazy Sonic 2. Crazy Sonic 2 is a fake sequel to Crazy Sonic, and the only thing I can find on it is this one post. Among Bus Desert Edition. Among Bus Desert Edition is an Among Us / Desert / CrazyBus hybrid monstrosity of a game on itch.io. I tried this game and it's just really mundane. Apparently you're supposed to take a bus ride for 8 hours while maintaining the bus and fending off the imposter, and yes, you can keep up with the tasks, but eventually you will slip up due to boredom and the imposter will crash the bus. I highly doubt anyone has reached the end of this game without hacking. Psycho Limos. Psycho Limos is another game inspired by CrazyBus, but it's basically the same game with not much else other than a theme change. Crazy Sonic, itch.io edition. There's an itch.io version of Crazy Sonic, but it is not a ROM hack, and is instead made with ClickTeam Fusion. It is much worse than the ROM hack too. GB port. Similar to the NES port, there is also a Game Boy port of CrazyBus. Desert CrazyBus. Desert CrazyBus is a little like Among Bus, but without the Among Us. Yes, if you couldn't tell already, this Iceberg video had zero effort put into it. Tom Manero's other works. Tom Manero actually has a website where he lists many of his other strange creations. Some notable ones include Windows 68K Edition, Christmas Greeting 2005, Sonic Kernel, and A Week of Garfield. That was the CrazyBus Iceberg. I know this Iceberg is quite low quality compared to my other videos, but after this trilogy ends, I do have some more Icebergs coming up on better games.